Today I want to talk to you about a simple body language gesture that you could be using that could be potentially destroying your chances of making a great, powerful, influential presentation. And that, my friends, is keeping your hands at your side. So let me explain to you what the problem with this is. First and foremost, when you start communicating with people in any context, the first thing that they pay attention to is your body language or your non-verbal language. The second thing that they pay attention to is your verbal language or what you're saying with your mouth. And then the third thing that they do is they match those two things up together and they try to look for congruence or incongruence between what you're saying and what you're displaying through your body language. Now, if you have followed me for any amount of time, you will know that I always advise people to use open body language. What that means is you avoid covering up your vital organs by crossing your arms or clenching your fists or using steeple gestures, which make people think that you're smug and arrogant. You always want to use open body language, which signifies that you're not a threat, that you are there to be an alliance, that you're there to be a friend, that you only have good intentions, that you're not lying to anybody, and that ultimately you should be trusted. Now, some people think that keeping the hands to the sides at the waist is open body language. And while it's certainly not closed body language, it falls into another category of submissive or weak body language. And here's the reason why. If we go back to primitive times, tens of thousands of years ago, where we as a species didn't communicate using verbal language, and we only had nonverbal language, and we had to constantly protect ourselves from threats to our lives, to our families, to our resources, we could only do that using body language. Well, the hands to the side is essentially the plain dead version of body language. You're standing still hoping that the enemy doesn't notice you or see you or pays any attention to you so they don't hurt you. And so when you are trying to communicate powerfully to somebody and you do this, what you're essentially telling them is that you're scared, you're submissive, you're anxious, you're unsure of yourself, but yet you're trying to be persuasive. So boom, there's that incongruence, there's that disconnect, and that's going to have a negative impact on how they perceive you. But here's the other part of that. I've also told you in the past that we can influence our psychology using our physiology. Well, when you put your hands to your side and start talking, something crazy happens. Your vocal pace actually slows down. Your pitch changes and your volume gets reduced. So not only are you having a negative impact on the way your audience is perceiving you, you are also having a negative impact on your verbal language. So you're allowing your non-verbal language to negatively affect your verbal language, which is a recipe for disaster. So when you communicate, you always want to use open body language and hand gestures. You want to use hand gestures to get your point across. I've got 20 techniques just like that, along with 81 additional ones in this book, The Street Persuasion Playbook, 101 Ways to Make Anyone Say Yes. Go ahead, click the link in the description, and I will send you over a free copy of the sample edition of this book. Look, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave me a comment, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I release new videos like this.